Welcome back. This is Travis from Travis Teaches Guitar. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about picks. Picks and the metronome, the dreaded metronome. Okay. I play with my fingers. I play stuff like that with my fingers. It's impossible to do with a pick unless you're using the pick and a couple of fingers. But I essentially have this pick, my thumb pick, this finger, and this finger, not my pinky. So I basically have 4 picks. I have nails on all of them. Even if I want to ditch the pick, I still have a thumbnail. But for the most part, I play with this. I very rarely ditch the pick. I'd use this because a lot of times I'll go back and forth strumming. Very easy to switch. Very convenient. So you can mix up styles of music and create a little bit of dynamics when you're versatile like that. But you don't have to play like that as a stylistic choice. Maybe you want to play rock and roll. Who knows? Classical. You want to play classical, you're going to be playing with just your fingers. And again, it's going to be your nails, your thumb, and all that. But what I wanted to show you is just the different types of picks that you can go in and find. Because, you might go into a guitar store and ask for a thumb pick, and they'll show you a lot of different kinds. This is the standard thumb pick. Let me get my fingers here. This particular one is made by Fender. But their Dunlop makes good ones. It really comes down to whatever is comfortable on your thumb. You don't want it so tight that it starts turning your thumb blue, but you also don't want it loose to where when you're using it, it feels like it's going to fall off all the time. There's a mid-range, so maybe you'll have to spend a little time in the guitar stores or finding one that actually fits good, and you'll know when you find a good one. And then your thumb gets used to it, if that is the pick that you're going for. There is a different style of thumb pick that looks like this. They call that a speed pick, which it works basically in the same way, but it's got a little less of a pick side on it here. I don't really use this. I used to use it, but it's very light and flimsy, so you can play a little bit faster when you're strumming with it, but I don't really, this isn't really my thing, but I have a lot of them, because sometimes I do use them. Just depends on what I'm playing. That's called a speed pick. So don't get confused when you go into a guitar store, because when you say thumb pick, they're going to give you this container, usually, that has all kinds of thumb picks, and there's more than just that. There's some that look like a normal pick, but then it wraps around your thumb, and there's steel ones, there's all kinds of different ones. Just go through and find out, first decide what style of music you want to play, who are the people that you admire when they play guitar, how are they playing, is that how you want to play, and then go from there. And then, okay, now I have an objective when you go out to the guitar store, and don't let them talk you into buying stuff that you don't need, because you don't need a bunch of stuff, like I said before. You just need your technique needs to be good, and you need to play and practice. That's what you need. You don't need a bunch of fancy equipment. You just need the basics. Your guitar, and maybe a pick, or your fingers. You don't even need a pick, to be quite honest with you. But if you're the type that, if you want to play rock music, then you're probably not going to want to play with your fingers. Probably. You're probably going to want to play with the standard pick, like this. Okay? It's called a Plectrum, and this is the most common kind of pick that you're going to find. I personally either like this one. I like this one because it's thick. This one's made by Dunlop also. They're a pretty popular pick company, but it's really thick. So you can play light with it and just glide, or you can dig in there heavy, and it's not flimsy. So it doesn't bend real easy. So you kind of have to get used to that if you were used to a thin pick. But if you've never played, then you're not used to a thin pick, I recommend something around a medium to heavy, something that doesn't have a whole lot of give to it. It makes you a lot easier and versatile if you can, you know, start somewhere in the middle. Now I'll show you how to hold it. This one, before I get to that, I like this particular kind. If you see that blue patch right there, it'll probably be hard to see, but it's almost like sandpaper. And you'll find that when you play with picks like this in certain situations, especially if you're relaxed and you got your hand relaxed as it should be, sometimes that pick will fall out. It'll fall inside your guitar hole. You have to pick up the guitar and try to get it out of there. That little sandpaper, that little difference, especially if your hands are getting sweaty or something, it makes it a little bit easier to keep a hold of that. It's right in the right spot. If you put your fingers, let me show you now how to properly hold this pick. The Koreans do this little thing with their, see my thumbnail here, like they make a heart like this. I think that's where it comes from. It's not the Koreans. I'll credit whoever did it, but it's not the point. You want to take your pick, right, and put it right there in the middle, so it's pointing out like that, not in that far, not clear out, because then you're holding it like this. But you kind of want to have your fingers like this, almost like your, I don't know what kind of a symbol that is, but it's not really the OK symbol. But if you can see how I have my, and then I'm going to put the pick right there like that, right, with about that much of it hanging out, maybe like that. This is because when your hand falls, the point is facing towards, right? And you don't have, it's not your fingers gliding across there, it's your pick, right? Now you can have your hand closed, you can do it like that. That is up to you. Either way is fine. But the way to hold it is like that. Okay, the thumb pick, normally when you have it on your thumb, it just naturally falls like that. So you don't even have to worry about it. But this is the optimal way to hold it. It's what I recommend. It's what most people are going to recommend to you. And then it just glides across the string. You steady tilt it a little bit up towards you when you're going down. And if you're coming back up, a little bit tilted down. You don't want it going like that, straight digging into the strings like that. You don't want that. You'll see that that causes, it's hard, one, to get into any kind of timing or rhythm because you're digging in there. But you learn a little bit of finesse. The guitar is about finesse. Sometimes you get crazy with it, but it's about finesse, definitely at first. And these types of picks, finesse. Okay, next thing I want to show you is Mr. Metronome. This is an app. On one of my videos I showed you, or I talked to you about the metronome. This usually sends people running for the door. This is probably the most important tool you have in your bag as a guitar player, right here. Because this is what's going to help you develop your rhythm. It's going to help you develop your timing and just about everything else. If you want people to enjoy playing with you when you get to that point, get used to this Mr. Metronome. This one is called Stage Metronome. This is actually my daughter's. I use one called Pro Metronome. But there's hundreds of apps. And they all basically work the same. On what you're going to find, I like this one that she uses because this one actually will show you 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what that's doing, we'll leave it running here. This is what's going to teach you how to have a steady rhythm. You can change these beats up. The tempo's the same, but you're adding extra beats in there. Tick, 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 that's landing on beat on the beats. The in-between beats they're different. I don't know if you can see it right now, but get one of these. Do not neglect this little tool. Like I said, it is the most important thing that you have to help you grow as a musician. And if you are not used and you do not develop your timing, people will not want to play with you, nor will they want to hear you play. So this is the king right here. And all you have to do is just experiment around. You can change it from slow to as fast as you want to go. It's fast. I'm going to continue to talk about this as we go forward in different lessons, especially for beginners. Advanced players should already have a hold on this, all right? Because you're probably not going to get to an advanced stage if you don't have some sort of timing developed by this little tool right here. There's lots of different ones, but the easiest way to go is just go to the App Store on iOS or on Android and find. This one's called Stage Metronome, but it's free. It has all these functions on it, but really all you need is at different tempos, just to keep you honest with your timing. Tap your foot when you hear this beat. Let's slow it down a little bit to its real beat. Get used to this. Listen to it. Hear that stuff in your head while you're playing, strumming. 1, 2, 3, 4. Your improvement will skyrocket if you just obey that. It's boring sometimes, but you can spice it up. You don't have to play to 1, 2, 3, 4. You can play 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3. You can switch it up just so long as you're obeying the tempo. You can get as creative as you want to be. There's all kinds of settings on here that will change up. It's, every rhythm in the book. That's where it helps you. Get one of these. Until then, I am Travis Teaches Guitar. Keep practicing.